Welcome to What's Best Forum's Masters and Makers interview series. Today we are meeting Greg Rulka, co-founder of Qualio Audio. Greg, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Ron. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Briefly, how did Qualio Audio come into being?
So basically, for many years now, me and my business partner, we are running Cube Audio company where we design and manufacture full range drivers and loudspeakers from scratch. And they are very good, but they are quite exotic and require tube amps and things that not many people really are into in the audio world. So we wanted to have like the loudspeaker that everybody can enjoy and can connect their integrated 100 watts amp and just don't think about matching the perfect system and just enjoy the music.
How do you divide responsibilities between you and Marek? What do you focus on and what does he focus on?
Basically, I'm more into marketing and sales and everything regarding the audio shows and things like that. And he's more into managing the factory and designing the speakers. However, we split the design phase, so everybody have some ideas, and whichever idea is better always wins. But yeah, he's more in the factory guy, and I'm more on the outside person.
Qualio has one model of loudspeaker presently, the IQ, a 9.5-inch woofer in a ported box, and on top of the box is a 6.5-inch wideband mid-range driver with a ribbon super tweeter. The 6.5-inch driver and the super tweeter are mounted on an acrylic panel, open baffle style, and mounted on top of the box. Why this particular design?
You know, I always was a fan of open baffle loudspeakers. So we wanted to have a design that matched both worlds, because I believe, contrary to some people, they concentrate on the bass being in open baffle. And I believe, you know, there's some benefits to that, but the cost of having like very high surface area of the driver, so like going 15, 18 inch, and really to have it shine, you need active amplifying of those drivers. So there's a lot of things to do that can go wrong and are quite expensive. And the bass sealed in the cabinet, that's a very easy and cost-effective thing, a way to achieve very good and nice bass. And where the magic of open baffle loudspeaker is, for me, is in the mid-range and high frequencies, because it gives this clarity, openness. You don't have any maybe not any, but distortions are very limited because you don't have sound pressure built behind the drivers, and it fills the room beautifully, giving like holography and 3D imaging. So definitely, that's the best way to go, in my opinion.
Why SB Acoustics drivers? How did you pick those particular drivers for the IQ?
It was a long route. I'm a huge fan of full range drivers, so I always wanted there for a mid-range driver to be a full range driver, because we believe that cutting the speaker with the crossovers beyond like a normal standard way is the best way. So we were looking for a full range driver and off-the-shelf full range driver that is reasonably priced, since we're the manufacturer of that and want to keep the cost at bay. So we tested basically all full range drivers on the market that are like 5 to 6 inch for that purpose. And this is basically the best one that has most full range drivers have issue with shouty mid range, and this one doesn't. So it's very easy to apply a very delicate crossover for that driver, and not to damage the sound with overly big crossover.
What is the business concept for Qualio Audio to make the best sounding loudspeaker at a very modest price point? I calculated based on euros that it would be about $7,400 US for the IQ. So is that the idea, just to achieve a very high price performance ratio?
Yes, exactly. You know, nowadays when you look at the audio market, it's everything is like $20,000, $50,000. The prices are getting really, really high, and I know how it works because we have the same problem with Cube Audio. The price gets very high very easily with the full distributor and dealer network, and I wanted to have something for everybody. You know, I know that it's not like a cheap speaker. However, I believe if you are having like a regular job and it's audio is your real passion, and you have some spare money that you can spend. Uh, yeah, that's the sweet spot because let's be honest, you cannot do like high-end loudspeaker for like $1,000. It's basically impossible because good drivers just cost a lot. But I believe you can get to wonderful sound building like a 10,000, 20, maybe $20,000 entire system, and not like one component. So this is the goal, to just have superb offer for everybody.
Now, is one way you're keeping the price down by selling direct from the factory on Qualio?
Yes, that was the way we started the company because we managed to pack the loudspeaker within in a very smart way so that it can land being packed into the crate anywhere in the world, and we shipped like over 100 pairs now, and none of it got damaged from the shipping process. So it's packed like a rock, so that's great. However, that let us keep the cost at very, very low level. Like even our customers said, "Oh, this is stupid. I'd pay like $15,000 easily for this sound." So, what we decided to do when we visited plenty of customers and had like plenty of presentations was to just share a bit of our margin and rise the price just a little bit recently, and have like dedicated dealers for the customer. So what I noticed visiting plenty of customers is just my presence there increased the value of the loudspeakers even threefolds, because with a little tweaks, I managed to really make the sound way, way better than the customer would do themselves. So what we figured is just have a small dealer network that, there's no general distributor, just a dealer that will be there for you and help you with the entire process. And you'll pay just a little bit more, but we'll have a person that know the speakers, know the system, can advise you, can come to you, can help you set everything up, and make sure that the speakers sound at 100% of what they can do.
Have you selected a dealer in the United States?
This is funny because still we're in the reviewing process for a few of them, and we're waiting for a few applications also, because I believe like United States is a big enough country to have a few dealers on the East Coast, maybe Central and East Coast and West Coast. So definitely, if somebody is here thinking about becoming a dealer, we'll welcome your email. However, no, at the moment we don't have a dealer in the US. We have two dealers in Canada, in Germany, and we'll still growing with that. And not everybody also want to work with a dealer network model. However, I believe there will be many dealers very soon.
What is your philosophy or sonic objective for the IQ loudspeaker? What are you trying to achieve when the customer puts that speaker in his or her listening room?
Ultimate sound, I'd say. Uh, Basically, what many reviewers and customers said with the feedback is just this is endgame loudspeaker, and that was the goal from the get-go. So you have amazing holography, you've got a great speed, you have bass going to hell, basically like 25 hertz you can get into with the room gain easily. You can basically play them in 1,000 square foot room. So there's like so many options for you with the loudspeaker. And not only that, you have the magic mid-range refinement and amazing AMT high frequencies that are very detailed, but not offensive, like plenty of tweeters. In my opinion, many like titanium domes, tweeters, and things like that sometimes get too harsh and offensive. They're detailed, but they have a little bit of cost to them. But these Mundorf dipole AMTs are truly amazing. So you got all the detail, but without them being aggressive.
Who physically assembles the loudspeakers? Do you do that in-house? Or
Yes, we do basically everything in-house when it comes to assembly. We've got employees doing that. We do the cabinets ourselves. We cut them with the CNC machines. We glue them up. We assemble the dipoles. Uh, we do everything except the drivers, and we do the painting in the paint shop nearby.
I know the IQ's sensitivity is 89 dB. What does the speaker's impedance curve look like?
Uh, it's basically it's not very easy, and it's not very hard for the amp. I'd say like that. Uh, you need a good integrated amp that can deliver like 60 watts, and you'll be fine, because the impedance, average impedance is around 4 ohms, but it drops to like 2.8, 2.9 ohms at near base levels. So uh, yeah, some amplifiers, like from my experience, class A amplifiers that are like 30, 40 watts, don't show what this speaker can do. And if you connect like AB class amp or D class amp, that will rock your house and give you a great experience.
What is your personal favorite amplifier for driving the IQ?
This is funny because I purchased the NIME Super Night 3, which I believe is great for these speakers.
I'm sorry,
But
which amplifier?
NIME Super Night
Oh,
3.
nine.
Yes, it's a great integrated amp, and it costs like 5 to 6K, so it's in a similar range. But I've listened to very many amplifiers, and whether it was tube amp push pulls like KT88 up, like KT120, 150, you can go basically any amp that is AB or D class as well, solid state ones. If they're like 50 watts up, you'll be fine. But yeah, if you are thinking about the amp as well for these speakers, you'll never go bad with name.
I know that the output of the super tweeter is adjustable with resistors. How do you recommend for clients to figure out which resistor or which uh, ribbon output level to adopt?
It's basically very easy, because what we believe is a neutral level is the 1.8 ohm red resistors, because they are all color coded for the easiness of changing them. However, you can just grab them. They are terminated with banana plugs, and the easiest way is to just listen and experience for yourself, because that's why they are there. So you can fine tune the speakers without changing cables, amplifiers, or things like that. You can just regulate the amount of highest frequencies coming from the AMT with the Mundorf resistors that are attached with comes with the speakers.
To your ears, why do box speakers or box speakers with some open baffle drivers achieve a more convincing illusion of live music than, say, horn loudspeakers or planar loudspeakers?
Horn loudspeakers it's a totally different animal. Uh, uh, you get different dynamics, but there's a different physics to horn speakers. So you can get uh, the surface area that plays and the cone, the horn that gives that amplifies the sound, that gives a different character. I'm not saying it's bad, but what you get with open baffle loudspeakers like dynamic ones, you have three-dimensional sound. Because when you think about, let's say, a piano, uh, is it like a directional or omnipolar instrument? You just, when you hit the keys, basically entire rooms fill the room with both from each side of the piano. So I know, like human voices are coming just from one side, yeah, from your mouth directionally. But when it comes to sound reproduction, like going open baffle with dynamic speakers, that's something that gives amazing illusion of real life music. And for the planar loudspeakers, they have other issues because they are basically a full range driver. So you either get like high frequencies or low frequencies, and we have feedback from people having like electrostatic speakers that switched to Qualio, and they say it's even more dynamic, detailed, and open. So we're not scared of any comparison, and I believe this is like the biggest sweet spot that you can go, like having a partially open baffle speaker with a bass in a cabinet.
Thinking about transparency and resolution, how important do you feel is mid-range driver surface area to transparency and resolution?
I'd say the bigger the better, and the only limit is how big you can go with the frequency. Us being manufacturers of full range speakers and drivers, we can for example, our F10 driver, 10-inch full range driver, when it was measured in one of the magazine, it went over 35 kilohertz for the 10-inch driver. So you can balance the driver anywhere you go, no matter the size, but at a cost. It costs like very powerful magnetic motors, like Faraday rings and other things like that. So you have to get into the sweet spot. But I believe since I'm also developing like 15-inch full range driver, and I managed to do it like go way over 20 kilohertz till this moment. So I believe it's limitless. It's just where's the sweet spot? Because I believe it's like, of course you can go like Bugatti Chiron, why not? But it's not a daily. I want to have like a speaker that anybody can buy and can enjoy. And as Sergeant from 6 Months said, it's a Lambo in a Honda Civic chassis. It's just like that, and I totally agree with that. It's a
Well,
perfect.
what about a slightly taller IQ where you have two or three of those wideband mid-range drivers in parallel?
It's doable. However, uh, at this moment when it's like with one driver, you basically get a full range action because it's behaving kind of a source point at the moment, because the Mundorf INT is just doing like top highest frequencies. The cutoff is around 8-10 kilohertz. So basically SB acoustic mid-range does all the job. You can hear the high frequencies coming from it, and the bass driver gives just a little bit of lower mid-range. So you still got this full range driverness from this loudspeaker. So it's if you add another driver, you'll lose you'll get more scale, you get more dynamic, but you'll lose a little bit of magic. So of course it's a way to go, but I believe we will have some other options for that than just multiplying drivers in the future.
Have you ever considered using field coil drivers rather than permanent magnet drivers?
Yes, for sure we will work on that at Cube. However, uh, with Qualio, there are no off-the-shelf electromagnet drivers that are fulfilling and our need for the value for money ratio, I'd say. So with Qualio, unless we think of a way to do them ourselves, I'd say there won't be electromagnet drivers in Qualio.
Why not put the woofer itself on an open baffle and have the entire speaker on an open baffle?
That's, as I mentioned before, that's doable. However, just imagine the pure size of the loudspeaker. You will need to go to range of, uh, in my personal opinion, 18-inch, like two 18-inch drivers per side is a minimum that open baffle will work correctly with. So then you need a dedicated amplifier because you get like 4 drivers and the impedance go, to stupid levels. So the speaker, might be even better. That's for sure. However, the price tag would be like 3 times that. So
Mhm.
it's not a sweet spot as I look forward.
For the woofer, why did you select a ported box rather than a sealed box?
Because the woofer is great quality, it's tight, fast, and have amazingly deep bass in a ported cabinet. And sealed cabinets are great for some people, but I believe like in modern times, people will uh, be okay sacrificing this like 10% of quality for like 100% more amount. So I believe this is a great trade-off. And if somebody needs to have a sealed cabinet and enjoys like purer bass for themselves, that's very easy because the speaker come with foam plugs, so you can put them into the ports and basically create something very similar to sealed cabinet. So if you have a bass heavy room, you can just place Qualio and you can regulate the amount of bass with those clocks.
During your design process, how do you perform voicing when you're comparing different drivers and different crossovers and slopes and components? What are you aiming for? How do you know when you've stumbled upon the correct sound? What are you looking for in the voicing process?
Uh, Basically, uh, we just sit and listen and enjoy the music. And if it sounds right and natural and you just can sit and I tend to answer all the emails while sitting on the sofa and listening to the music at the end stage. So it's like days of sitting there and listening. And if there's like a week that I don't need to change anything and I can't stop just switching tracks, I know we're there. And the same is for my business partner. We just sit on the sofa and enjoy the music.
Do you aim for an objectively measured flat frequency response? How do you think about frequency response and objective measurements?
Every great sounding speaker will measure very well. However, not every speaker that measures very well will sound great. So, and that's a rule. I can just take few components and make with any drivers like flat frequency in an hour. But it won't sound right, and it will measure perfectly. So there's way more to that than just tossing the parts and doing what simulation software showed you and recommended to do. It's just hours of listening and fine-tuning and knowing what's what and why. So measurements doesn't show all the everything there is. And the great I believe also great argument for that is nearly all amplifiers measure the same now nowadays. And that would conclude that there's no difference in the amps, and there it's definitely there.
When you're designing the loudspeaker, what turntable, tone arm, and cartridge do you have there?
At the moment, we don't have a turntable. We are
Mhm.
not very analog guys. We like
Okay.
digital. However, I have my own mission for next few years to just set up an analog system just to discover what's what. Yeah, but that's a totally different story. I do like files, I do like streaming, and I enjoy it greatly. It allows you to discover and rediscover music, and I love, all the AI suggestions in Tidal and other software like that. It's just great for the money. You can't beat it.
What digital to analog converter do you use there?
I have Lampizator Baltic 4 here in my YouTube studio where we are now, and we have Amber at the company.
What is the next new product we should
Uh,
expect from Qualio?
we're working on new speakers, a little bit smaller now, and later on, probably a little bit bigger. We're working on some new toys for sure.
Well, thank you very much for joining me today, Greg. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ron. Thank you, and have a beautiful day.
You too. And if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the What's Best Forum YouTube channel.